after I graduated college, in the process of looking for work, I said to myself, wait a minute, I learned that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Fan Zone. I'm your host, Mike Phillips, and alongside me, my co-host, always, Hoodie Manny. Manny, just for you today, I wore the hoodie as well because we're about to get live and we're about to represent on a couple of people that have been trying to call a couple of people out recently. But before we do that, how you doing, Manny? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm doing great. As you can see behind me, if anybody can tell what hotel that is, it's one of my favorite films. It's the hotel from The Shining. Happy holidays. It's where their hands are born. That's all I'm telling you.
And with that, it's time to address a couple of things that have been said over the last week. And now we have the opportunity to respond. Mr. Carl Coulange, EP yourself, I need to call you to the front of the congregation to take your punishments. You know, you tried to say, I'm not a one-trick pony, and you tried to list your accolades for your basketball team. But if you noticed from what I said last week, from what Greg has been saying, it's you, sir, we are calling out. Not your team. We are calling you out. We didn't mention Mr. Miller. We didn't mention Ziggy Zig. We didn't mention Mac, but I got something for you, Mac. We didn't mention Mac, but we mentioned you. But as you've always done, you have decided to move the goalpost yet again as the one-trick pony we know you are. You see, the versatility is the new age. Now, you try to say you're disappointed with me. I'm disappointed in you, Carl. You listed the founding fathers of the sports hit list. You listed the veterans. I wasn't named. That's disappointing.
You didn't even
Who was in the 7th floor studio working with you on different segments? Who was alongside you, assisting, working the cameras for your segments? But again, there's no acknowledgement. So you want to consider yourself a tribal chief. But tribal chiefs let their warriors eat. You're breaking up there, Manny. You're breaking up there. I think the Alps have.
Graduate together? Hold on. Didn't he graduate?
I can't hear anything, Manny. I can't hear anything. Manny, you might have to jump in and jump out. You're breaking up. You're in the Alpines right now. Your service is a little choppy. But while he's gone, welcome into my living room for storytelling with Mike. Because Mr. Coulange, you want to talk about your bibliography that you had on the Jordan and the Bulls 30 for 30. You want to talk about the views you've gotten for certain debates. They weren't coming for you, Carl. They were coming for your team. The people that have been in the trenches, that have played the sport, that know what they're talking about. They're not coming for you, Carl. But again, you want to turn around and say it's because of you that this has all happened. And I'm here to tell you, maybe it's time to continue producing, because we've seen by the views you know how to produce. But keep the shows to the ones that keep it entertaining, to the ones that know what they're talking about, that can flip the script at any moment, talk about anything, even soccer. And I barely watch.
Football.
You don't like how I say it, so I made sure I didn't say it today. I'm in a festive mood.
Damn it, Mike! Come on. Come on.
Football.
You have one job, bro. One job.
But you want to continuously try to say that because if it wasn't for you, none of this would happen. You're right. You're right. You gave us the opportunity. But you want to sit there and shit on the opportunity that you provided us. So you're shitting on us, but how does that make us thrive? We showed appreciation, but now you called for war. So we've clipped up and we're ready. Because you want to talk to your contributors on your new show, and it's a pretty nice little show. Again, it's typical, you jumping in talking about basketball. I understand. And I got no beef with your contributors because I've been alongside them in the trenches. But again, you deflected from the attention on you, and you tried to say it was the whole basketball team being called out. Deflection much?
He threw them under the bus.
Are you a Deflategate, Carl? Are you the one moving the... There's ifs, right? And this is the if. If you think you're the best at what you do, then I'm coming on here right now. You pick the topic, you pick the show, and I'll debate against you, Carl. Because I'm tired of you saying that you're the only one that knows how to debate. I'm tired of you the only one that says that if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't happen. You're absolutely right. You've created a legacy. But like Vincent Kennedy McMahon needs to do, it's time to step back and let the new age rock. Manny, talk to him.
AEW all day.
Wait, are we
Just
talking?
saying.
Wait a second. Are we talking wrestling on our show? No way. Wait,
Nah, we can't. We don't know about that. I wasn't there. I wasn't there watching them fight. CM Punk's first fight in AEW. I didn't watch that. Nah, I didn't see Daniel Bryan. I didn't see nobody. Luchasaurus, all those guys. I'm bugging right now. Adam Cole. I mean, you want to continue going on and on with these names, by all means. You understand? But I appreciate what you're saying because I noticed how Carl lit the match. Carl came at everybody, threw us pointed the gun straight at us, chose violence. We said nothing. We didn't even mention it in our show until Greg came at his neck, defending us. And then, because we are part of the baseball team at the end of the day, people don't realize we're part of the baseball team. Regardless, go Padres. But anyways, it's crazy how last week I'm expecting him to come at our necks. Yeah, he doesn't even mention us, but yeah, he still comes at us on post, but not on the live. So I guess we're fairly new, and he's just he keeps threatening to cancel us and all that. And go ahead and cancel us. We still gonna pop up regardless, because there's plenty of lives. We got the keys.
And you know what? I'll give him the key. He can come on the live at any time. Carl, you're always welcome, but he won't.
He ain't about that life. He's not about that life. He's too busy.
Pulling up at any time, at any moment.
Well, what's it saying all the time? Production never sleeps.
We're still here. I've worked a full 9 to 5 day. I got 2 kids running around, hiding in these trees behind me as my background. But I'm still here because you know what? You're right. Production never sleeps, and a product still needs to be made. But you want to continue trying to call out the product, saying that we can't light a match against you. We can't even stand next to the veterans. Half your veteran team chooses when they want to come on a show. They're not here every week. Half your team decides when they're available to talk a topic. We are here every week talking sports. We might change the time, but the day has never changed. We are here.
Ain't half his team join our shows. We always gladly invite everybody to join up.
And half of them have said yes. Half of them aren't available. We understand that. Life comes in the way, but we're still here. Now, I want to bring up something because I rewatched before this show tonight. I rewatched the shenanigans that was on the court with calling everybody out. And Matt tried to turn around and say, "Oh well, those big topics are on ESPN, but then 3 o'clock in the morning there's curling and there's all these different sports." And I'm calling you right now, Mac, and I'm telling you this:
Pull up, Mac.
don't you dare ever try to compare us to a 3 a.m. slot, because at the end of the day, we are prime time right next to you. Because we talk everything besides basketball. Because on Sundays, is basketball the first topic or is football? On any other day, is a no-hitter more important than a 50-point game? You're damn right. A no-hitter is going to be the top topic on SportsCenter, and the 50-point game might be story number 5. So don't you dare come at me and try to say that what we talking don't matter. Because at the end of the day, curling is actually very fun to watch. So don't front on it. And a lot of people in the Olympics follow it. It's got more viewership than you. So stop yourself. Manny, what do we got to talk about today?
The Raiders beat a minor league team.
Talk about it. Let me
Shout
tell you.
out to Daniel. Shout out to Daniel Carlson. We're still in the playoff hunt. I mean, my biased self when it comes to the Raiders, I'm still gonna pick them every week. I don't care if we lose or not. We're still in the playoff hunt. Derek Carr obviously pissed me off last night during Smoke and Mirrors. I was, watching the show, and then because we support each other. You understand, right, Mike? Ain't that what it's about?
Well, I was on
last night with you.
I was on last night and reaching out with Elijah. Me and Elijah were on the live the whole time. We were talking about Carl's basketball abilities, right? He goes underhand, he calls charge and street ball, right? We were talking about how Carl plays basketball. Just
he gives out texts.
He gives out technical fouls when he's on the bench.
We saw the footage of Ziggy cooking him. We saw what happened. There's a reason why he sits back and watches the show and talks basketball, because we definitely damn near know that he can't play. But so the Raiders struggled against the Browns team that literally was missing half their team, but yet their defense was still stout as always. We almost lost to a third string quarterback, which says a lot. And honestly, Rich Bisaccia, at the end of the season, I expect you not even being the manager next year, not being the coach next year. I mean, I still don't even know who should be the coach. I mean, if Mike Tomlin somehow leaves the Steelers, scoop him up, do something, because it's looking like it's just year after year, either we make the playoffs or we don't. And literally, it's been forever since. It's been a couple of years since the Raiders made the playoffs. And when we did make the playoffs, Derek Carr was out. He didn't even play. So we have still yet to see him in the playoffs. And the thing is, the most competitive division in the entire NFL, I've said this plenty of times, is the AFC West. The Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. The Chiefs and the Chargers obviously are fighting for the first seed, for the division. Then you got the Broncos and Raiders fighting for a wild card spot. Because remember, this year there's 3 wild cards.
Right, I did see that. Now, I wanted to jump in for a second because, it to me as a fan, the way the Raiders were about to lose that game, and I say that because what was it? Under 2 minutes when they got the ball back, they were down by 1. Me as a fan of the game, that's a little scary to see that you have a lot of these reserved or the replacements. You got the Falcos in there, right? And they were able to almost beat you guys. So what can you say about your defense right now, or maybe the lack of offense, that is the reason why a non-competitive Brown team could be so competitive against the Raiders when you had most of your players there?
Not most. I mean, obviously, we're still dealing with a lot of all these other issues. It's still no excuse. You have to go in and play with who you have at the end of the day, whether they have COVID or they don't. You show up and you show out at the end. It's only one game a week. It's very intense. Yes, the protocols suck because you have to. It's inconsistent. Like Carl actually mentioned last week. Because you don't know who's playing, especially with fantasy football implications going involved, like people making the playoffs and stuff. So my issue is right now is Derek Carr. The only highlight last night was first it was almost a tragedy because it was 3 minutes left. We had the ball in our hands, and Derek Carr throws a pick. Didn't throw a pick all game. Throws a crucial pick, and somehow he better have bought the entire defense something because they were able to get 4 downs and make that team punt and give him enough time with only one timeout. I believe actually, I think we wasted our timeouts. We had no more timeouts left. Under 2 minutes left. We finally get it. Daniel Carson kicks a beauty. They called the timeout to try to ice him or whatever. He does it again. Like, that's why we paid him money. That's why we gave him the extension and even the punter as well, I believe, a couple weeks ago. So shout out to them for doing their thing. Derek Carr with the only other highlight. Derek Carr came in clutch yet again, despite he was the one that put us in that hole in the first place with that crucial pick. He has another game-winning drive. I believe it's 28 now, which is one of the, if not, I believe he's the second highest behind Matt Stafford. Game-winning drives.
But let me ask you on that. I've always wondered on that with those many game-winning drives. And do you say it's the talent of the?
I mean, the thing is, look at the teams Matt Stafford had when he had those game-winning drives. Look at the teams that Derek Carr had. Let's not forget Derek Carr's rookie year. The Raiders went 0-11. They were probably the lowest of the low. They were fighting for a first round, literally. They started 0-11, and they gave him a couple chances to play, and then they took him out and benched him and put somebody else. His rookie year. You can't expect him with pretty much nobody as your receiver. Like, you had a washed up Donald, not Donald, I believe it was Donald Drive. No, it was he was on the Packers, but he was pretty much like he was done.
Well, Donald Driver was on the Packers.
No, it was not Donald Driver. It was another gentleman. I forgot his name. He won with the Packers when they won the Super Bowl. And then pretty much his career was ending. I'm not sure in the wait, what?
Wide receiver?
Yeah, the wide receiver. That was his best guy. And then we had Latavius Murray. We had a few guys, but it wasn't nothing to build. We had the only other highlight besides Carr was Khalil Mack. And that was on defense. Khalil Mack was dogging. Then we trade him. Shout out to Gruden, dumbass. We trade him, and he goes to the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously his numbers are not as big as it was with the Raiders because obviously when you play for a crappy team, when your team is crap, you're the only highlight putting up these numbers and stuff. So what does that tell you? Eventually you're going to go to another team. Do better. Be better for yourself. Just go do something better for your career. Make that choice and go to another team. Request a trade. Do whatever. It sucks, but honestly, I see either we get a new head coach, yet again, another head coach, and probably another offensive coordinator. I don't even know what they're going to do. It's like every 2-3 years. I mean, honestly, this season has been hell for the Raiders in general. As a Raider fan, it's been very rough. Still no excuse. I'm going to stick with them regardless. It's been hell even when they went 0-11 started when Derek Carr's rookie career. So again, just to cut this out, he has a bunch of game-winning drives. He's clutch at moments, so it's good to see that. But
I think I have to say, I think the Raiders had the worst season so far for the NFL, and I say it in this way.
And draft class. Don't forget the draft class as well.
But mostly the worst season, to be a fan of because of all the off the field issues that just marred a team that was already known for things in the background, but it was never highlighted the way it was this season. And then on top of it, then you have injuries, right? You lose your starting running back. You know, you have all these injuries. You trade your best defensive weapon. You know, I just
Well,
think
Jacobs wasn't hurt. You're talking about Kenyon Drake. He's out. He was out for the season
the backup. I'm sorry,
on a
not- yeah,
dirty play. On a dirty play, of course. But the league don't care about that. I don't really care.
But just to see that, like as a franchise right now,
Hold on. Shout out
Yeah.
to Declan. Jordy. He brought up Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson, yes,
That
okay.
he was one. It was another one. Thank you, Deck, for that head up. It was another person, I believe, that played with us that was on the Packers, and he was on the end of his career.
I can see. It's crazy because I can see the player. I just can't think of his name. He played in like 2011, 12.
Not even, yeah, but like I said, he came to the Raiders pretty much towards the tail end of his career.
No, yeah, I'm trying.
And I think,
He was a star.
but anyways, let's
God.
continue.
Yeah.
So speaking about risk, we could segue into another Ravens game, close game against the Packers. Shout out to Huntley because yes, they were down by 2 scores. Shout out to Smoking Rivers yesterday for bringing it up. They were down 2 scores. They came back. They had the chance to either tie the game or go for it all. Thank you. Yes, I think Declan hit it. James Jones.
James Jones. Yes, thank you. He was
I believe so.
Like 88.
I don't know if somebody wants. Yeah, if somebody wants to fact check, by all means, appreciate it. But yeah, so for the Ravens game, I take that risk. Why? Because a couple years ago, when Jack Del Rio was the coach of the Raiders, the first game of the season, we played against the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees there. And what happened? We tied the game. We pretty much had the chance to tie the game on a field goal, on a 1-point conversion or whatever, and on the field goal kick, extra point. And Jack Del Rio was like, you know what? Let's go for it all. Screw it. It's the first game of the season. We got 15 more games after. Let's take that risk. High risk, high reward. What happened? Derek Carr came in clutch. And we ended up winning that game on the throw. But again, with the Ravens, they took that chance. The thing is, people don't realize the players trust John Harbaugh. Because think about it. If they would have made that play last week and this week, we'd be talking about something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, Declan brought up this whole thing. It was a smart play to do because you don't want to face Aaron Rodgers in overtime. My issue with that was anything can happen in overtime. We've seen this countless of times in the history of sports in general, not just football. Wasn't it a couple years ago, Matt Hasselbeck on the coin toss called in and said, yeah, we're taking it and we're going to win it all. And what happened? He threw a pick six. It was game over.
Yep.
Even though they had the Saints winning, they had Seahawks winning that game.
Yeah, but you know what? I gotta give it to Deck on what he said because you can't give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers in that position, right? Going into overtime. I understand it would be the smart move, but if we look at John Harbaugh, he's never been the smart move man in the sense of he likes taking risks. And I'm not saying smart moves as in the risk moves are dumb. I mean it in the sense that the smart move would be go for the extra point, tie the game, and go from there, right? He doesn't do that. We saw it with the play calling when Lamar was in there. We saw it on those 4th down plays. I think it was the Sunday night game recently, actually. We saw the 4th down play. He said, Lamar, you want it? Go get it. So John Harbaugh believes in his players, and that's a good coach. Whether it shows in the X's and O's with the wins and losses, that's the type of coach a team needs, right? You need a player coach. Now, is it sometimes the fault of the coach that a team doesn't do so well? Yes. Perfect example. You're going to laugh at me, but it's my perfect segue to go into my rant of the Jets of the week. Because who is the player coach that the Jets have had recently? Rex Ryan himself.
Oh.
Rex Ryan. Mr. I like toes himself. And
God.
I'm just saying, he does. He likes a good toe. He likes a good toe once in a while. Listen, but
come on, man.
Who is he a player coach of? He was a player coach in the sense of Mark Sanchez. He always, I think once I said Mark Sanchez, Manny fainted. I don't know. I don't know if it was a good feint or a bad feint. But
Nah, somebody hit me up.
oh, I thought it was a
Butt fumble?
Mark Sanchez.
The butt fumble?
Yeah. I
Was
said
it
it
twice?
first.
Not once, but twice?
It was twice. One was worse than the other. One, he was in someone's butt, just face first, right in it. You know, that
All
was
right. Keep it PG, my guy. Come on,
I'm
come on.
just saying. Listen.
You have kids. Be respectful.
So Rex Ryan believed in Mark Sanchez more than anybody else to a fault. Because it was like the Titanic towards the end of Mark Sanchez's time with the Jets, but Rex Ryan did not see the writing on the wall and didn't want to follow that until what happened. Rex Ryan was right behind Mark Sanchez, and they were both out because the team needed to move on from Sanchez when he wasn't playing well, but they continued to go with him thinking it would be okay. Player coaches can be a great thing for certain teams like Baltimore. We've seen it successful with John Harbaugh. It is successful. Or you could be a player coach in the sense of Rex Ryan and the New York Jets, which we are a horrid of a franchise right now. And that brings me to Sunday. We played pretty well against Miami. But I'm going to be honest. I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, so I didn't even watch the game on Sunday. But I was following highlights. Why I do it to myself, where I still follow along, looking on Bleacher Report, watching the highlights, why I still do it to myself when I'm about to go on a roller coaster and my emotions are already a roller coaster because I'm a Jets fan, is because it doesn't matter win or lose. I want to see progression. And I started seeing some progression in our defense until we give up a 17-7 lead within like 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, I look back at my phone, it's 17-17. And then we give up the lead. And then we almost try to take it back. And then we give it up. This defense, I don't know what's up with it. I understand it's a young defense. But guys, come on. By this point, you should be more seasoned in your abilities. We should have already made adjustments in our cornerbacks, in our secondary. And there is no adjustments. Whoever's on the field, shut up, Tua. Shut up. I can't. Shut up.
Shout out to Ricardo Etienne and his Dolphins for pulling out that win.
Shout out to you as a true Miami Dolphin fan. There's not many of you. So I give you a true shout out because you ride with them, win or lose. You ride.
How about this? How about this, Mike? Since we doing shout out to the football team on Sundays.
Yes, sir.
You know, I may come at Travis and stuff. You know, he has bad takes. I always crack on him, but you know, shout out to Paul Lawson. You know, those fellas. They doing good things out there.
They are. I gotta tell you.
I have to say something though.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was in the I posted on based on our fantasy football league in the sports headlines. Right now, Dolphins killed me by not giving Miles Gaskins the ball at all. I had to start him at the flex thinking he's going to give me at least 15, 20 points. He gives me 5. My team pretty much got screwed over. They did nothing. A few people did their thing. But other than that, Travis is pretty much going to, unless Seals Jones puts up 60 points for me, which is not going to happen, I pretty much going to lose. So he goes to the next round. So congrats to Travis. Advance to the next round. You hold up. You beat me in fantasy football. This is the only time I'm ever going to say congrats on that. Because, again, you're still not the football guy. I don't give a shit about that. I lost, whatever. I was told I was going to be predicted to be last in that league. But I lost fair and square, so I'll give my kudos to Travis for that. But you still not winning. But there is one person I need to come at, and his name is Pook. He knows who he is, Karan Carter. You killed the entire league with that bogus trade and giving up George Kittle and Mark Andrews to Travis for.
I can't hear you. Nobody can hear you.
You hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
My bad. So Karan Carter, he's in the league with us, and he traded Mark Andrews and George Kittle once again for Jonnu Smith, Cortland Sutton,
Manny, you froze again, brother. You froze again.
And
Manny,
me,
you froze.
brother. Yeah. So Karan Carter, you catching hands. You catching hands this week.
So Manny, we heard most of that. I don't know if you can hear me, but we heard most of that. You were going in and out at the end. But all I know is Karan is getting the hands for providing Travis with the players to ultimately beat you and show that he's better than you in fantasy. I don't know. That's something you and him will have to discuss at a later time. But I will say, shout outs to the NFL team for what they're doing. You know, I look at Travis. I joke about him. I call him out, but he's like the Skip Bayless, right? To Paul being, a Stephen A. Smith, where he actually
Don't even say Stephen A. Smith. Give him Shannon Sharp. Give him Shannon Sharp. Don't give him Stephen
I
A.
don't like Shannon Sharp though.
No.
All right, we'll give
You
him
know
Shannon
why?
Sharp.
I'm gonna say this right now. Fuck Stephen A. Smith. He
Okay.
ain't shit.
All right. Well, you don't like Stephen A. Smith. That's cool. I mean, that's your prerogative. But I will say they are doing their thing. They really are getting us in-depth looks on a lot of these games. Most of the time they're right. Most of the time they got it right on the money. There's times where we have to say, damn, Travis, what are you talking about? That's the only person we really call out. But keep doing your thing. We will not be suppressed because of certain individuals that want to think they're superior to others. We will bow down to no one, and we will never bend the knee. Now, before we move on from NFL, I gotta bring up one more game. Tampa Bay getting shut out by New Orleans.
9-zip.
Do you now 9-zip is a terrible score anyway to be shut out?
They beat them last time again. They beat them twice this year.
Listen, I say it this way: if you're gonna get shut out, you get shut out like 28-0. You don't get shut out 9-0 because that's showing your offense really did not show up.
Don't forget, Mike. They also lost Mike Evans for the rest of that game. Chris Godwin's out for the season, unfortunately. I hope he recovers. Speedy recovery to him.
Absolutely.
They're probably losing Leonard Fournette for the rest of the season as well. They just signed Le'Veon Bell today.
Pending a physical.
Yeah. But shout out to Doug for that in the chat. But it's gonna be a tough role. And then AB's back now after his 3-game suspension. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Now let me ask you: you think it was warranted? Because I've been seeing articles in our sports hit list streets, and I reserved my opinion on Tom Brady, but the reaction he had with throwing the tablets, right? It's all over the air and everything. One of the articles that was brought up was if this was a non-white quarterback.
If it was Odell Beckham, we would be coming at him and all that stuff. And it's true. We see this all the time. Like, nothing changes. People are only going to defend it by like, oh, Tom Brady is Tom Brady. He's the greatest of all time. You can still be the GOAT. But the thing is, it's still, again, with the inconsistency. You understand? When you had Tebow riling up, being all amped and stuff, coming at his players and all this stuff, you got other quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks doing the same thing, but it's like, oh, no, that's too ghetto or whatever the crap. They try to downplay it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the same, look at Cam Newton. People didn't even expect him back. Nobody wanted him back. After the whole thing with the Patriots and, they moved on with Mac Jones. Mac Jones, their guy. He's not bad. He's still a rookie. But obviously he's going to learn. You could have had Cam Newton as a backup just to, like, give him pointers and stuff. Obviously, you don't have to tell him, oh, you go run like me. They're two different kind of quarterbacks. Cam Newton goes back to the Panthers. They haven't won a game ever since he's been back.
They won the first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, what happens?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, they won the first game. They won the first game because everybody was saying Cam Newton's back. He was doing the Superman.
No, I'm saying when he started, not
when
that.
He started.
Remember,
Gotcha.
When he started, they haven't won a game since he started back.
Right.
And, everybody's gonna come at him and all that stuff. But again, you still got Ben Roethlisberger still, and then your dumb comment the other day, trying to say, "Oh, the Raiders should get him."
I still say it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Still
smack you with a candy. I'm gonna smack you with a candy cane for that.
So
Disrespectful.
listen, I will say you bring up a good point. I'm even and shout out to Deck because we had a little debate about this off air and everything about Cam Newton coming back to the Panthers and me talking about how it was a bad look. He's not a team player, this and that. But why? Who am I to say that, right? I'm not in that locker room. I'm saying it because I've seen how he's acted on the sidelines a couple of times. But then again, is Tom Brady getting the same energy from certain fans because of how he won't shake people's hands when he loses and he walks off the field? And I brought it up in chats earlier on during Super Bowl losses, during playoff losses. He walks off the field. He doesn't even go in the middle to shake a hand. Doesn't even acknowledge that, great game by the other team. No, he walks off, right? Or how he doesn't acknowledge certain players on his team if they screw up. Yes, there's an idea to intensity to how you play, and then there's just being a jerk. And there's times where Tom Brady is just being a jerk. I don't care about the accolades. I'm talking about the person himself. I'm not talking about the accolades that go on, the stats, the GOAT that you think he is. Fine. I'm talking about his sportsmanship as an athlete is in question.
It's whatever at this point. I mean, the man, like you said, when he loses game, you don't even shake the other opposing team's hand. But when he wins, he runs down the sideline and is like, "Yo, good game, thank you, I won." Like, again, we're not gonna expect every athlete to do it. Unfortunately,
Of course not.
Is he the only one that's done it? Probably. I mean, if there's footage of other players, we'll call them out too. But again, it's inconsistencies. You understand? You got players swapping out jerseys and all that stuff. Exactly, but it's not gonna happen. Tom Brady gonna be Tom Brady at the end of the day. He's still gonna talk. So, but yeah, continue.
No, I just wanted to say. So you brought up. I'm sorry that I didn't let you finish your point. Finish your point.
No. I was just gonna segue into something I wanted to bring up really quick.
Okay, I wanted to bring up Le'Veon Bell, right? So we said he's gonna be signing with the Bucks, but he was in the news recently for other stuff. I don't know who watched the Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley fight. I am very upset. Who paid for it? Because I am very upset with the outcome. I am not a Jake Paul fan by any means. I think he is as wrestling with some of their gimmicks. And no, I'm not calling out wrestling. I'm a wrestling fan and I love the gimmicks, but I feel like he's a gimmick for boxing.
The thing is, he doesn't fight fighters. He doesn't fight boxers.
Exactly.
He's fighting former UFC champs. He's fighting former wrestlers, grapplers. Like the UFC champion, the UFC guys he's fought, like that first guy he beat, he was 19-0 before he fought Masvidal. Masvidal beat the shit out of him with that killer knee. Now he comes in and he fights him. Ben Askren is the guy's name.
He had hip issues.
No, it's not only that, Mike. His fighting style is grappling,
right?
Wrestling. How does that equate to, I'm going to throw out the hands? Like, mind you, this guy, Jake Paul, is being trained by actual boxing trainers that probably trained professional fighters back in the day or even of now. Now, he's doing all this and that. I mean, he can market himself, all that. Kudos to him for that part. But other than that, Jake Paul is full of shit. You're fighting old people out of their like element, pretty much. But then now you want to start fighting Canelo. Who gave you the right? Since when you have the right to completely bypass every single other fighter who's been fighting for years that are even trying to get into these main fights to even get to the point of fighting Canelo? Mm-hmm. Fight Ryan Garcia. Matter of fact, fight a lightweight fighter. Just fight an amateur boxer, an actual fighter who actually boxes. Not this bullshit, grappler, I'm going to fight him. No, fight a sumo wrestler if that's the case. You want to do that too? You're stupid. You're making a killing of money, so you're not stupid in marketing yourself. I give you that. You know how to make your money and all that. But you're calling out all these fighters. You're calling out UFC and stuff like that, trying to like bite Like Masvidal actually responded to him, and he said, "Hey, how about you sign a 1-fight contract and come to the UFC?" Do you really think Do you really think Jake Paul is really gonna go into that? Hell no. Even if they make $1 billion in that fight, he's not getting in the ring with him in a UFC stipulation. In a way, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So why can't Jake Paul fight an amateur boxer? Fight an amateur boxer. Matter of fact, fight Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
You know,
And
young kid, young fighter. Obviously, injuries hinder him from a lot of good fights. I mean, I would love to see him fight, you know, with against talented fighters and all that stuff. But it sucks that you can't. But then you have all these other fighters, you know, working their way up. I forgot this gentleman's name. Oh, Tyson Fury's what is it? Not Tyson Fury. It's the other Fury that he was supposed to fight originally, but then he injured his hand or something like that, so he couldn't fight. So then Woodley took the fight. Tommy Fury was supposed to fight him, and then he couldn't because of injury.
Yeah, he had lung issues or something.
Okay. This is a good thing, but of course this kid's gonna come and talk shit. But then he fights Woodley again, and it's like, you know, Woodley did, you know, he did his thing. You know, obviously he do that. If you see the video, he put his hands down. In boxing, you don't put your hands down.
Yep.
What is wrong with you? Literally. So again, a UFC fighter fighting a boxer. We've seen it with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. What happened when they fought? McGregor was exhausted by the second round.
Yeah.
Like Mayweather was just toying with him the whole time. At the end of the day, we knew Mayweather was going to beat him. There was no way McGregor, unless by the shot of God, he was going to just hit him with the one time, and then that was it. Wasn't going to happen. We've seen it too many times. But now, like, you know, his brother Logan Paul fought Mayweather for some charity BS.
That was stupid.
Apparently he wants to fight Tyson now, and it's like Tyson will kill him, even at this age. Tyson is scary.
You know what? Let him. I'm okay with them getting knocked out because they've made a mockery of the sport. And yes, I understand sometimes these gimmicks are what's needed to bring the sport back. But I think in sports like boxing, in these type of sports like UFC, you don't need that celebrity. You bring in the athleticism, it brings in the fans, right? I think it's a mockery to the sport. It's a gimmick. And you're right. He has not fought anybody that is remotely a boxer. He fought Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, an ex-basketball player that was one of the shortest guys on the court. And that's who you're fighting. And that's who you're acknowledging as one of your wins, as if it's a huge accomplishment. Not to say Nate doesn't know how to throw the hands.
He's bolstering about being 5-0 in his boxing career. And I'm like,
look at the 5 wins. Right. Look at the 5 wins. That's like me going against a high schooler in a sport and beating everybody on a line in high school in like dodgeball and saying, yeah, I'm the dodgeball king now. No, I just knocked out a 5th grader with a dodgeball. It's different. It's not the
high school. You fighting, bro. 5th grade high schoolers? What we doing here?
You know what I meant?
This ain't half baked. This ain't one of these old 90s comedy, you know, with the high. I'm just saying, man, these apparent high schoolers that look like pure full-bred adults. Like, come on here. Let's be real, Mike.
But that's how it. No,
5th graders in high school.
It's true. And then, you know, Le'Veon Bell saying he wants him to go against, Jake Paul because I believe he's an actual boxer in the sense that he trains as a boxer. I don't know what that'll attribute to. I do hope Jake Paul goes against an actual boxer for one of his next fights. I really do hope. He won't.
I'm telling you, he's not going to fight an actual boxer, either in his prime or an amateur one. Probably somebody that's like 50-something years old, he'll probably fight. But the other fight that was in there that was interesting, a lot of memes.
Your guy.
Shout out to Frank, Deron Williams. I only liked him when he was on the Jazz. I mean, I liked him when he was on the Nets, but he didn't do nothing. So screw him. He pissed me off. He got his bread. I give him that. Get your money, fam. But you did nothing for my team. So
Yeah, he knocked out he beat Frank Gore.
Split decision.
You know,
split
Frank
decision.
Yeah, by split decision. But Frank Gore had one of the funniest memes where he gets punched. And he goes, hey, wait, like, whoa, like, my man, you're in a fight. Like, we call it timeout. Like, you punched me in the face. I'm like, oh, timeout. I'm sorry. My bad.
He was hoping the flag was
thought
going to be thrown. Like, oh, give him 15 yards. Give him 15 yards. No, that was. I actually watched the fight. That was a funny fight. At one point, I think Darren Williams thought it was like street fight, where he literally
pushed him out the ring pretty much.
Pushed him out the ring. Like, this isn't Rocky, where it's like Rocky versus Ivan Drago, where he picks him up and throws Apollo Creed.
Yeah, because remember in the movie Rocky, he fought Hulk Hogan in the beginning.
Yeah, and
they did it as like a gimmick kind of thing.
Yeah. So, just a quick update to all our fans that are watching right now, as we do give live updates similar to our colleagues on Smoke and Mirror. It is 10-0 Washington right now. If you're not checking out the game, the Washington football team are playing the Philadelphia Eagles. It is the battle of the 6 and 7 teams with hopeful playoff implications somewhat still in the picture for both teams. They are actually on Channel 5 right now. So if you'd like to go check out the game or watch it in the background as you're watching your number one show, that is right, the Fan Zone, then you can definitely check that out. And the Rams are also playing the Seahawks. I haven't been able to find it on TV. They're winning 3-0 right now. But with that being said, we've noticed a lot of different changes going on in the sporting world recently. And it was something that I wanted to bring up as a topic today, Manny. COVID-19 is still here and is still stronger than ever. And I hate to say it after 2 years. I hate to still have to talk about it and how it's affect people's livelihood, whether it's individuals that are losing loved ones. My thoughts and prayers are with you and your families if anybody has been struggling with COVID-19. But then we also have a lot of different businesses closing again.
Yeah.
One of those businesses is the NHL.
Yeah.
The NHL has shut down all games from after tonight. There's 2 games tonight, but from the 22nd to the 26th, at least for now. But I will tell you, what stinks about that, besides anything else, I actually was supposed to go to the Ranger game tomorrow.
Ooh.
And they shut it down right on that day. So that's a little upsetting, but I'm okay with it because of what's going on right now. And people's health is more important. The game was only postponed, wasn't canceled. I'll always be able to go, but people's health are more important. But with that being said, we've noticed in all sports, the NHL is just another sporting corporation or ideology that has had to shut down all operations due to the outspread of COVID-19 and these breakthrough cases. Because technically everybody should be vaccinated. Everybody should be okay.
Even if, the thing is too, even the people that are vaccinated, like people still don't understand you can be vaccinated, you can still get it. Yeah. Like it's not a cure. You understand?
And look at there was, before they finally shut down everything, there was about 6 to 7 teams that had completely canceled games.
What about in the NFL? The Raiders versus Browns, was supposed to be on Saturday. Browns had a bunch of players out because of COVID. They tested positive or whatever. And then what happened? They pushed it to Monday. Then you had the games that are going on currently right now. They were supposed to be on Sunday. Yeah. They ended up pushing those to Tuesday. And again, it's literally looking like deja vu all over again, where it's just going back to what it was last year. And, Adam Silver went out, shout out to Richard Carlo, pointed out that Adam Silver went on live today on ESPN and stated that there's not going to be a shutdown of the season. And I'm okay. If there's no shutdown of the season, you're still going to have fans in the stands? Even though we're like, well, what's the deal? What's going to occur? Like, what are you going to do? Do you have the cure or something like that? Like, are we going to go? Obviously, the owners don't want a bubble. They can't afford that, apparently, because they lost billions of dollars or whatever.
Of course. There was no marketing tool because you had no fans. So you have no fans, you're slashing merchandise. Then if you have no fans, any arenas you're in, you're losing all concessions that you're receiving from fans being in the stands.
Plus, people are losing their jobs because you
Yeah.
really think those owners are going to pay for the concession people? They don't care about that.
No, and they're not paying that. They're not paying security. They're all on unemployment, and they might hire them back once they reopen.
So they have to reapply for that. Yeah, they have to reapply for their job.
Yep.
Which again is ridiculous, but you know it's just crazy. It's still happening. I mean, they're still doing they're just telling people, get your shots and stuff. Obviously, you're gonna have people that don't want to. They're against it. That's fine. That's your choice at the end of the day. Just the thing is, again, like I said, if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. Just respect my decision if I don't want to hang out with you at an event where you're not vaxxed. Yeah. Respectfully, of course. Because you don't have to get vaxxed, but I'm vaxxed. I got no problem. I was called a dumbass for getting vaccinated. And it's like, okay, so if I want to see my folks, what happens?
Yep.
Say God forbid something happens to my folks and I get them sick. Then they go 6 feet under. Who's the real dumbass? Me.
Yeah.
Because I decided to listen to somebody who's not at the end of the day. Respectfully, it's your choice. And this goes for anybody that's watching. If you want to get vaxxed, cool. If you don't, cool. It's your choice. But you need to respect other people's decisions. And when I mean other people, I mean your family, your friends, people you care about. They still care about you. It's just, hey, right now, the world is going crazy. There's another pandemic going on. Numbers are increasing. I don't want to go to the hospital, but I don't want you going to the hospital as well. Respectfully. And shout out to all the healthcare workers and all those essential workers working during this entire thing again.
So I appreciate all of what you said, and as Manny alluded to, shout out to all our healthcare workers who are on the front lines at all times, that are really trying to ensure that we are continuing to be safe.
I mean, I was there. I was in the front lines. I was working at the vaccine signs, helping people get their vaccines. I wasn't giving it to them, but I'm helping them out. And a lot of people thank me. A lot of people were worried, concerned. And it's okay. We're human at the end of the day. You understand? So it's like just being there and seeing that. Obviously, people are not going to, if you're not there in the front lines helping the public out and stuff, how do you know? You're just going by what you see on social media.
So you bring up a great point, and it kind of segues into my other portion of this whole COVID-19 outbreak. The basketball world has been absolutely shaken up due to COVID-19, right? Teams missing out on 6, 7, 8 players at a time, 9 players. Brooklyn Nets at one time, right? It was 9 or 10 players. There might have even been a little more than that.
We had 12 players, Mike.
12, yes.
Kevin Durant played with pretty much the entire rookie squad except Patty Mills and Blake Griffin. Yep. And we beat the Raptors. I was there. And in overtime, mind you. And then we beat the Sixers with just KD. And then the other night we play and we didn't have no KD. And then Kyrie comes back. He enters COVID protocol because once you come back from either injury or like time away, obviously with Kyrie, he's a part-time player, first ever. But he came back. You have to get thrown into COVID protocol. Jarvis actually brought that up to me. He's like, they have to throw you in COVID protocol the moment you enter. So like the news report saying, oh, he's in COVID protocol already. He already tested positive. And it's like, well, the NBA is definitely trying to push out their big moneymaker Christmas games. So
well, let me ask you about that. Let me bring that up, because that's where I was getting to, and that's what I was kind of alluding to with your players being out and everything. And we've seen it with the Knicks signing a couple of G League players right now. Dotson coming up. I love that kid. That kid is good. I think he's going to do good things. But Kyrie, right? Now the Nets organization made a stance saying it would have been too much of a headache and distraction having a part-time player in Kyrie coming back, right? Originally. But because of what's been going on, they have backed up from their stance and have said, you know what? Kyrie, come on back. We need you. Now, you talked about your personal feelings about vaccinated, unvaccinated, whatever, right? As everybody's choice.
I've spoken about the whole Kyrie situation too. None. The only thing is, I feel like the reason why they decided to let Kyrie come back and just be a part-time is because Kevin Durant has been playing existential amount of minutes. He's exhausting himself. And it's not even halfway into the season. We're in December and he's playing 40+ minutes. You can fact check me or whatever, but he's playing a lot of minutes. And don't forget, he still has that lingering injury. Yeah, last year he didn't play as much, but let's be honest. Last year he wasn't playing 40 minutes, 38 minutes a game last year because he had Harden, he had Kyrie. So obviously, I believe they're doing this just to help, just to give him some time to rest. Same thing with Harden, who's still never really been injured that much with a hamstring. He still had. Remember, during the offseason, he didn't play it. He didn't really get to play anything like that, because he was resting that hamstring. He was producing albums and stuff. But again, there's only so much you can do when you're injured. So I believe the Nets did that just to help KD calm down and take the workload off of him, because we're still number one in the East. And obviously, there are other teams still dealing with injuries. The Heat are dealing with injuries as well, with Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, and stuff like that. So those guys are injured. When they come back fully healthy, the East is going to be very difficult. It's not going to be, James Harden and Kevin Durant carrying the team the entire time, even though they have been this entire season, mainly Kevin Durant. But go ahead. I think I took too much.
No. You said plenty, because I have a rebuttal to it, and not in a bad way, but as looking at the Brooklyn Nets organization, could you not tell that KD and James Harden were going to have to hold the amount of minutes that they've been holding with Kyrie out? That's one.
Oh, of course.
Okay. And then two, don't you think even now it's still going to be a headache? Because what if, and this is when it happens, the Nets go on these large tears, right? Where they're winning game after game after game. But then Kyrie's sitting out because now you're at home for 3 games. And what happens if all of a sudden they lose 2 or 3 out of those games? You don't think the media is going to jump on the idea of a part-time player, and it's going to be more of a discussion and more of a headache going into it? I understand.
I mean, watch First Take today. Look at what Stephen A. Smith said. Jumped on it right away. The media loves Kyrie. They love coming at his neck. Obviously, he does do it. He does allow it. He does give them ammo pretty much. But again, he's still a human being. Obviously, people in the comments are going to be like, oh, you're biased because you're a Kyrie. I'm like, look, I've been a Kyrie fan since even before they won the chip in Cleveland, okay? Let's stop it right there.
I've been a Kyrie Irving fan since Duke.
I went to the movies to see the Uncle Drew movie, okay? So it's like, okay, I love his game. Granted, obviously people are always going to have something to say, and it's not just Kyrie. People have come at LeBron. People come at all players. Look at players coming at Westbrook. Look at people coming at AD right now, who's constantly being injured right now. You know, that's hurting the Lakers. And because I even said it, the Lakers go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. Yes, you have LeBron James who's putting up great numbers, but again, he's not playing every game. You can't exhaust LeBron in the beginning of the season, because when the playoffs come, that's when you play your minutes. You play those minutes. Because LeBron's going to be exhausted by the time if you're playing LeBron more minutes and stuff like that, not giving him as much rest, going into the second half into the season, he's going to be exhausted before we even get to the playoff spots. So the media is going to continue coming at Kyrie. I'm probably going to get tagged in a bunch of stuff about Kyrie. It's, you know what, y'all got something to talk about at the end of the day. Media is going to
be successful. You think it'll be successful, him being a part-time player?
No.
Okay.
I can tell you that right now.
I'm
Like,
just asking. I just
no,
opinion,
no,
I just want your opinion.
I understand. I don't. My thing is either you play or you don't. If
Okay.
you're healthy, play.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, I mean, granted, we don't know what happened behind the scenes for him to make the decision. Oh, I'm gonna come play and be a part-time because the Nets allow me to. Because probably Kevin Durant and James Harden had to talk with him like, yo, the 15th just passed. We can make trades.
Mm-hmm.
Domantas Sabonis doesn't want to be in the Pacers no more. He doesn't want to be in Indiana. Miles Turner doesn't want to be in Indiana. They got him as a trade. Trade Kyrie for him or Caris LeVert too. Get 2 players from there. Helps the Nets out tremendously on a big man if we get Sabonis or Miles Turner and Caris LeVert, because then we get a scorer again, and then we also get a big man, which helps our big man problem. Because the Nets still have an issue with a big man, but apparently they're top 10 in defense in the league, which is like, I still don't understand.
Gotten rid of DeAndre Jordan. I'm telling you that they should have.
No,
retired.
it's not DeAndre Jordan. It's Jared Allen that we got rid of.
Yes,
If
but
we would have
DeAndre
traded
Jordan was
Nicholas,
good for
no,
you last year.
we should have traded Nicholas Claxton instead of Jared Allen.
Well, yeah,
Obviously,
that was stupid. Yes.
yeah, but obviously, depending on what the Cavs wanted, because look at the Cavs now.
Mhm.
They gave Jared Allen his money, which we probably wouldn't have been able to afford because we got Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Now, let's see what occurs. It's a long season still. We got trades haven't come out yet, but there's always constant rumors. We don't know where they're gonna go. We're gonna monitor that, obviously. Probably open court because that's their only show. That's their only shtick.
On the court, not open court. On the court.
Oh, on the court or open court? What is it?
I think it's on the court.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. They have to just pull up Wednesdays at 4 p.m. to check it out. I don't know what the name.
And to the gentlemen that are on the basketball team, it's not a shot at y'all. It's a shot at Carl.
Yep.
Okay. Y'all keep doing y'all thing because Ziggy knows we've invited him onto the show as
Ziggy
our basketball.
Ziggy is our NBA correspondent. He comes on just to talk basketball to help us out.
But Ziggy can also talk about other sports as well.
Yes. See? Because he has versatility.
Yeah. So again, but before we get to the hands of the week, Mike, you got a new manager, Buck Showalter. Declan called it. He's been preaching about it for months, saying that the Mets are going to get Buck Showalter. I know yesterday they covered it. Greg's not happy about the signing. Should have been Beltran, as I agree with that. But my thing is, Mike, how do you feel about that signing?
I like it. I like it. Not comparing it to Beltran. I'm on the boat with you guys. I would have liked Beltran. I think Beltran got a horrible raw deal and was used as a scapegoat during that whole Astro scandal. And he wasn't even a big pawn in that. He was a small chess piece in the big pond. And
he was like a player coach on that team.
Yes. And there was, for some reason, when you go ice fishing and you're putting the hook in there and you're hoping to catch something, that's what they were doing. And they caught Beltran at the perfect time, unfortunately for him, was when he just got the job. So he was already in the news, he was in the media, and they took him as the scapegoat. That's how I feel about it, because if he was behind the scenes, no one would have ever accentuated the whole Carlos Beltran being a part of that Astros situation.
And he's one of the most respected people in the baseball world.
Exactly. So
even after the whole scandal, people love Beltran regardless.
Exactly.
And the thing is, the manager and the GM of the Astro team during the whole cheating thing are still employed.
Yeah. They got
which
one
is
year
still
suspension.
stupid.
They came right
that
back.
Beltran
Alex
can't get a
Cora.
shot.
Right. Alex Cora. So I like Buck Showalter. I've always been a Buck Showalter fan. I think he's done amazing things. As you saw from Manny Machado, how he came out, he said he gave me the confidence to believe in myself. He believed in me. He's a player coach. I think this young squad, I think they need some nurturing but tough love to really get to that next level. Pete Alonso, I think he needs a veteran coach like that has the experience, that has worked with some of these star hitters, right? These star athletes for their respected teams and been able to continue grooming them. Now, this whole analytics BS that keeps going in and out, listen, at the end of the day, we have the possibility to do great things in Queens. We have a team that can compete. We have a pitching staff that I would put that pitching staff up against almost anybody and see if you're getting more than 2 or 3 runs on a given night. So I think for this team, Buck Showalter is a good pick. Again, not the best pick because I'm on the Beltran mobile. But for this Mets team right now, I think Buck Showalter was the honest opinion. Out of those choices, when they were going to final decision, I was saying it to everybody. It's going to be Buck because you have to understand who our owner is too. Our owner is old school, as I believe Greg alluded to as well. He's an old school type manager. So he's going to go to an old school style name. So always Buck Showalter was in his rearview mirror going, all right, I know he's right there. I know he's right there. Now I snatch him. So as a Mets fan, bring on the buck. It's time to go buck hunting because Buck Showalter is going to help the Mets in ways that not only will be in the win-loss column, but will also be in the talent column because I think there'll be more players that will want to play with a manager like Buck Showalter as well. But we ain't going to hands of the week just yet. Listen, our colleagues on Smoke and Mirrors, shout out to them. They can continue conversations way past an hour. We know we have the fans that want to continue hearing us. So I want to end off with this before we go to hands of the week. I want to give a shout out to Demarcus Cousins.
Yes.
Boogie. Now we are the fan zone and we talk about our fan experiences and we talk about what it means to be a fan of certain sports. And I have to give you the salute of the week for moving security to meet one of your biggest fans, to take pictures with him, to talk it up with him, to make him feel like he was the important person in that crowd, not you. That was
crying. The dude was crying when he saw the title pretty much.
Crying. And you know what? I give a salute to Boogie on that because he gets a bad rap at times that he's a dirty player, that he just wants to fight. And yes, is at times he like a Dennis Rodman-ish, player with the elbow, with the look, with the stay. Yes, he's an old school player in that mentality. That's what I count it as. I don't count it as being a thug. So I wanted to give him a shout out, but I wanted to ask you, Manny, as we are in the holiday season and we think of joy with the holiday season, which athlete has given you the most joy at a game? So whatever sport it might be, who is that one athlete that either, dabbed you up, gave you an autograph, gave you memorabilia? Who's that one athlete that put that great smile on your face like it was Christmas morning?
Fonzo Soriano. Actually, it's 2 people.
Okay.
3. Sorry. Fonzo Soriano and Jason Giambi in the same game. I met them after the game. It was against the Rangers with A-Royd. That's when that whole incident with A-Royd happened. It literally happened after that. Like, I was so livid and pissed. I've said the Giambi story before where me and a gentleman in a wheelchair, we were asking for autographs and Giambi came to both of us. Security was trying to push us away or whatever. And then Alfonso Soriano came out and I was talking to him in Spanish. And it was a dope experience to speak to somebody from the motherland. So to me, I thought it was a great moment, honestly, especially to meet one of my favorite players, which was Alfonso Soriano. So it was, to me, it was those 2. And then David Cohn I met at a work event in Columbus Circle. I met him at an event and I actually got to speak to him for a few minutes. I actually have a picture with him and everything, and he signed a picture. It was dope. It was dope. It was those 3 right there. Shout out to them. And if I ever meet Mariano and Pedro Martinez, those are the other 2. And Vlad Guerrero Jr., Sr., and Tatis Jr. and Tim Anderson. Those are the ones I need to meet eventually.
Okay. So my first one is non-sports related with a all-time great athlete. And it's when I met Joe Namath, right? So graduating 5th grade, long story short, my mom got me Broadway tickets to go see Grease, right? When it was the Grease musical on Broadway. So we go to, and there's a dance contest at the beginning of the show, right? So they let fans onto the crowd. And of course, as a fifth grader, I still had the moves that I have today. Shout out to
Were you in
anybody
high
who
school?
see.
You were in
Huh?
high school in fifth grade?
Yeah, I was a fifth grade high school. I was going into middle school in sixth grade. Shut up. You knew what I meant from that. Don't mess with my analogy. But I went on stage and I ended up winning the dance contest that they had at the beginning. So I got a Grease, Broadway shirt, sign, this and that, got to show off my moves. But at the end of it, during the intermission, I'm walking
We
in the
need
crowd.
footage of it. We need footage of this.
Yes, all family members. There was like 10 family members there. But in the crowd was Joe Namath. And
Okay.
Joe Namath, I actually met him, when I went to pick up the tickets. I got to meet him and said hi to him, and he gave me an autograph. But he actually said, Mike, and I'm looking over and he's signing somebody's autograph, and he goes, great dancing. He actually remembered my dancing, and I was like, you know what? You were a cool dude. First you remembered my name because they chanted it. They said it at the end of the dance
We need
competition.
footage.
I wish I had footage. Trust me. I wish
We need footage, Mike.
I know. I wish I had footage. But my second one is a memory that I will hold very true. It's in the old Shea Stadium, and it's when the Padres came to town. Shout out to the Padres. But it's my man, Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, you mentioned this before.
Yes. So I had the privilege of being able to sit behind the Padres bench. And all game, I'm that chubby 10-year-old that is just yelling at every single player that runs in, thinking I'm going to get a ball or something. I'm thinking, look, I'm a cute little chubby kid. Give me a ball. Give me something, blah, blah, blah. And I'm yelling at Tony Gwynn the entire game. Now, I'm obnoxious. You already know I'm obnoxious on a regular basis. So just think of me as 10-year-old.
It's what makes us great fans.
It does. And I'm yelling his name. The 7th or 8th inning, he finally looks up and he salutes me. And I'm like, oh, crap, Tony Gwynn saluting me. That's awesome. End of the game. Padres ended up winning. They beat the Mets. And I'm a little upset. Huh?
That's regular.
Sure. So I run back down. The Padres are coming in. I think Tony Gwynn got the last out on a pop fly. He's coming in. And I'm yelling, Tony, Tony, Tony. And he's taking off his batting gloves. And he points right to me and he throws me his batting gloves. Now, I don't have them on me at this present moment. It would have been awesome if I could have just taken off, the background.
I'm still waiting for that.
You will see them soon enough. My mom actually has them she has in her safety deposit box that she has, holding those in a safe spot. So they are safe. But what was awesome about that is every single finger was triple taped so that he had a grip. Because we all know how amazing of a hitter he was. But the grip on the bat because of the triple tape that he had on his fingers was amazing. So shout out, rest in peace, but shout out to
the GOAT.
Yeah, to me, he was truly the GOAT of baseball, hitting wise. He really had an eye for baseball. But Manny, who are your hands of the week?
Hands of the week, besides Karan Carter for giving up 2 tight ends for mediocre plays in the first week. Hands of the week go to Carl. Carl gets hands of the week for that BS he was spewing at us last week. Not just us, Smoke and Mirrors, the football show, the wrestling show as well. He was coming at.
He even called out his own guys on the NFL show.
For no reason.
That show, and he has no respect. And I'm going to double my hands of the week for Mr. E.P. Carl Coulange himself. Because you want to talk about how you're so high in the mountains, in the Shining Hotel.
What is it, Mount Olympus he thinks he's on?
I think he is. I think he's the only face on Mount Rushmore and doesn't understand that there were others that were alongside him for the journey.
You were shooting with him in the
hard work, but you needed supporters to help support and build the product. But now you want to go and take those supporters and forget about them like they don't exist. That you only have 3 guys that made everything for you. They did everything with you. And it's not to call out those 3 guys because I respect what they say and do, because they have shown versatility at times. But you, Mr. Carl Coulange, are a one-trick pony that continuously moves the goalposts to signify that you're right.
So the wrestling show, apologies to the viewers, AEW Injection. Zach Draw, I believe, is one of the main contributors there. Shout out to them. But I believe Carl is coming out with another show, the wrestling show with Tom Kenny. Shout out to TK. I believe they're coming back with their show. But tomorrow, we need you guys to view tomorrow. It's a huge debate. Huge debate. First off, Mike, we already know where you and me are going with in this debate. Obvious. So for those who are watching, tomorrow live, 4:00 on what? Open court, on the court. I don't care what court it is. Judge Judy, I really don't care. You got Paul Pierce versus Carmelo Anthony. Now, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I've always loved Melo, even when he was on the Nuggets. 3 to the dome. Shout out to Melo because he's going to win that debate because you do got Womack over there defending him. So you already know Carl's going with Paul Pierce. We already know the man took a crap during the finals. I don't respect it.
Wait a second. Carl did come out with a whole PSA today wearing his, Celtics gear, wanting to, talk sports with us. He wanted to try to say that we can't talk about all of the escapades of Paul Pierce off the court because it doesn't talk about who he is. In my eyes, it does talk about it because he didn't just take a crap in a chair. He also took a crap in most of those games as a Celtic. But that's besides the point. He needed help to get that one championship. Melo hasn't gotten it yet, but he also hasn't gotten certain help. But that'll be tomorrow.
Melo doesn't need a chip to be in the Hall of Fame.
Nope.
That's my hot take.
It's at 4:00, I believe, right? So it'll be at 4:00, I believe, 4:00 Wednesday on the court. Pierce versus Melo. Who do you have? You can put it in our comments. I know I'm going Carmelo Anthony. We know Manny is going Melo 3 to the dome. And we'll get to see Mr. Carl Coulange collect all those L's he's been taking from Smoke and Mirrors, from the fan zone, and the L he's going to take.
First off, shout out to
Paul
Greg.
Pierce.
Wearing pretty much wearing all black yesterday because that was a funeral last night. Well, that was definitely a funeral.
I got to tell you, they wore black last night, but we wore the hoodies tonight because we strapped up and we ready to go.
What are we, Druids? Oh, wait. Ain't this part of the baseball team? I'm sorry.
I think so.
Ain't this?
I think so.
Hold up. Ain't this Griffey?
Wait.
Hold up. Excuse me.
That's
Ken Griffey right there.
Wait. No, he didn't do anything. Nobody watched his home runs. No. Nobody watched. Nobody watched.
They don't know about Griffey, bro.
Listen, they didn't watch on Sports Center. No. Ken Griffey was like 6th or 7th, right? It was usually basketball first. No,
Carl was swinging wiffle bats in high school when he was in 5th grade. The wiffle bat.
Listen, Carl strikes out walking out a door. And with that being said, we are the Fan Zone. Make sure you always catch us Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Make sure you catch our guys on Smoke and Mirrors, the Polius Brothers, and Declan.
Don't forget Saturday. Shout out to our viewers. It's going to be mentioned tomorrow, but we do have a Christmas special coming up on Saturday, I believe. And we will be there. Yeah, the entire NFL show, Smoke and Mirrors, everybody will be there. So to our fans, happy holidays, stay safe, much love.
And we are the Fan Zone, for the fans, by the fans.